Alright, let's break this down. So, we're looking at a rook endgame, see? Materials all square. Now, white's got a bit of a situation with their pawn structure. It's kinda busted up. Makes it trickier for him to guard those pawns. And, yeah, it kinda boxes him in when it comes to pushing for a passed pawn. Meanwhile, black's king? Oh, he's out there, making moves, being proactive. So, playing for a draw might seem like the obvious move at first, right? But let's dive a bit deeper and check out the immediate risks and opportunities. I mean, we could totally snag that f-pawn, sure, but then, bam, white's gonna snatch the b-pawn, and suddenly, that a-pawn? It's a beast, a real problem for our king with like zero counterattack. We can trade rooks. But, here's the catch. The black king is just too active, and we are 100% gonna lose that b-pawn. And then the a-pawn? Forget about it. It's unstoppable with our king so far away. So, bottom line, we gotta defend. But, we're immediately in danger of losing the b-pawn, so we need some forcing moves. They got to lead to a position where we can defend the b-pawn and use it to stop the a-pawn from becoming a passed pawn. Hopefully, this way, black won't be able to make progress, and it will be a draw. Note how we didn't calculate any deep line, or use any advanced knowledge. Anyone could reach the same conclusions independently of their level. The only requirement is a sense of caution about allowing the opponent to create passed pawns. Can you spot the strategy here? Pause the video and take a moment to think. Alright, after taking my time, I gotta say, this position? Whoa, it's way more complex than I first thought. At first, I was like, mainly by discarding options, we gotta check the king, force it to move, and then protect the pawn. But, turns out, I just can't find a way to do that without immediately losing the h-pawn and letting black get a passed pawn in the h-file. So, let's check if we missed anything here. We could also shift our rook over to a 7, with the thought that if black goes ahead and grabs the pawn, then we snatch their pawn right back, and boom, no passed pawn to worry about. That whole setup should be a draw, right? But, hey, black doesn't have to take the pawn. I mean, they could slide the king over to b6. Now, if we pull back the rook or grab that f-pawn, and black's gonna snag our b-pawn, and suddenly they've got a protected passed pawn. At this point, you can either continue calculating or start trusting your intuition. I continued calculating for a while, trying to force a favorable rook trade that would give us a tempo to bring our king to rescue the b-pawn. I also analyzed taking the f-pawn, but could not make it work. I concluded that there were two candidate moves I trusted, rook to a7 and rook to c7 with check. The lines with rook to c7 seemed more uncertain, with a higher chance of black making a mistake, even in case it wasn't strictly the correct move. I chose to play rook to c7 check. It turns out that rook to c7 check is the best move. The engine evaluates it at -0.10 in black's favor, but the position is still a theoretical draw. Initially, the engine marks all other moves as losing, including both rook to a7 and rook takes f7. However, at depth 26, it begins to consider rook takes f7 as holding a draw as well, though with an evaluation of -0.71.
This position is a draw?
Let's see how the game could have continued. We would simply wait and defend, as black has no real way to break through. But what if black goes after our hay pawn, as we feared? It turns out that black would then lose the a-pawn, as there are no squares available to defend it. Without the a-pawn, we also gain a passed pawn. The position becomes a pawn race, and is a theoretical draw. Now, let's take a moment to see how the original game continued. And white resigned, as there is no way to stop the a-pawn from promoting.
Want to train with positions like this? Visit chessbots.com and explore thousands of carefully selected positions ready for you to play. Compare your moves with other players and learn from videos that explain the thinking process behind them.